On to the gun debate, which Democrats so badly want more from the president on, including some arguing that he should just, well, rip up the Constitution.
This is us. This is 100% us, and it's because we are essentially slaves to a document that was written, more than 230 years ago by a tiny group of white slave-owning men.
No, seriously, that is a professor of law at Georgetown. Just in the past few hours, we learned of another July 4th attack. You may not hear as much about this one because police in Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, were able to stop it. Today, they showed off guns and ammunition found after a 911 tip about two men plotting to attack a local amphitheater. Among their charges are possession of a weapon by a non-citizen. They are here illegally. And now you wonder why you haven't heard much about this. Here's the town's mayor.
I do not have details on where they are from, where their point of origin is. I do not know how they got into the country as well. Don't have any of that information. We do not have any idea of what their motive is just yet. And that's why this is obviously continues to be an ongoing situation.
Nope, no idea. Been investigating for 3 days. FBI, Department of Homeland Security, briefings, press conferences. No clue. Terrifying on its face. Non-citizens, how did they get here? Oh, as you heard, the mayor doesn't know. Maybe the mayor doesn't want to know, doesn't want to tell us. One of them allegedly was deported multiple times, but kept coming back to America illegally. What was their motive? As you heard, the mayor somehow doesn't know. 2 days after an arrest, no idea. Possible, maybe just possible for a minute, that it's not nearly as politically convenient to talk about two illegal immigrants with automatic weapons, by definition illegal weapons, as it is to talk about the kid in his basement. Leave that for just 1 second. On to the kid in his basement, the Highland Park Parade massacre, and Robert Crimo. Turns out he was quite literally a walking red flag. Between threatening suicide and threatening to kill his family, all the signs were there. It was, by definition, a red flag failure. Where'd that failure come? Well, his dad signed his applications for buying the guns. Red flag laws, attempted suicide, saying in September of 2019 he was going to kill everyone and had a collection of knives. Still, his dad signed the application, and here we are today. But as we heard, Democrats want more from President Biden. They want something when it comes to gun violence, specifically mass shootings. They want something akin to the Illinois governor.
If you're angry today, I'm here to tell you, be angry. I'm furious. I'm furious that yet more innocent lives were taken by gun violence.
Well, 9 people were killed and more than 50 were wounded in Chicago over the holiday weekend, in addition to the parade massacre. In Chicago, there were actually 2 mass shootings. We looked. The governor neither visited the crime scenes nor appeared on TV, angry and furious. Batya Ungar-Sargon is here, deputy opinion editor of Newsweek, with us. Batya, are we wrong to point out the difference in how these mass shootings are treated?
No, absolutely not. We have 100% normalized the mass shooting of Black Americans who make up 54% of homicide victims. It's absolutely disgusting. Why is that okay? I mean, obviously, we should be covering mass shootings. Whoever is killed, we should be covering that. We should be focused on that. But as you pointed out righteously, Leland, Chicago has many suburbs. And, one of them, Highland Park, got a lot of coverage for the horrific mass shooting. And the south side of Chicago, which had over 50 people shot, and you said 9, I thought there was 8 of them were killed. The youngest I read was 8 years old, the oldest 85 years old. We never hear their names. Why is it okay for this to go on and nobody will even talk about it?
It's interesting. The obvious answer, right, is because it's more politically convenient to talk about one than the other. That's just the way life is. Here's Kamala Harris on guns yesterday when she visited Highland Park.
We got to take this stuff seriously, as seriously as you are, because you have been forced to have to take it seriously.
Fair enough. People in the suburbs now are feeling differently than they ever have. Is there a unique moment right now in America, Batya, among sort of the liberal white intelligentsia, that they are now feeling a fear because of Highland Park, because of Uvalde, because of some of these other attacks?
Yeah, but if you look at what they're trying to do about it, they're trying to protect themselves. And that's where it's so disgusting, because all of this violence that's how 1 in 5 gun deaths are Black young men between the ages of 15 and 24, 1 in 5. Nobody wants to talk about what can we do to protect those lives. Why are their lives not worth talking about? There is nothing on the table even close to addressing all of that violence, which is happening with, illegal guns. The Democrats have no answers to that. They say we want to take it seriously. They mean they want to take it seriously when nice white people in the suburbs are suddenly faced with gun violence, and they could care less when it happens to their neighbors on the South Side.
No. Where you show up says a lot. I'm interested, and we talked with Joe Walsh about this, but as somebody who was self-declared a progressive at one point, not sure how many progressives still accept you, but identify how you wish. Jennifer Rubin from the Washington Post. Democrats can't rely on Biden if he doesn't rhetorically meet the moment. How have Democrats shifted from wanting a president that was normal, back to boring, to wanting a cage fighter?
It's so interesting, because I feel like there's a lot of people are sort of in hindsight recognizing that, Trump was, he was very offensive in many ways at a symbolic level. But at the end of the day, the policies that, nobody in the mainstream media wanted to discuss, they actually made the country a lot better. People had a feeling of optimism. The economy was working really well for people at the bottom. So he was sort of doing his best to distract from all this great policy by being so, offensive symbolically in his language, et cetera. Like you said earlier, mean tweets. But the country was running really well. Now we have sort of the opposite. We have a president who won't run the country, and also who won't speak, either in a way that's moving or really at all. They just have no answers to the two main problems of the moment, crime and inflation.
You pointed out that economy being the number one. In crime, there's a specific kind of crime, and then the issues that we saw with the mass shootings. Baj, it's always good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.